These are the Ponzi Papers. The Ponzi Papers are written by investigative journalist Max Azzarello, who tragically passed away a few days ago due to the seriousness of his injuries. His writings and Instagram remain online for everyone to see. When I learned about Max, I wanted to learn more, but could not find any YouTube channels covering his writings. So I decided to read them aloud myself so I could learn and share with everyone else on YouTube what I was learning as I learned it. At the end of all this, I hope to do some commentary on my thoughts, and I'm going to leave it to the end so that I read it all first. I do not endorse or support anything he writes and do not claim any authorship. I simply find his writings interesting and wanted to share them with anyone else who might find them interesting as well. I am not a professional YouTuber. Please forgive my poor production quality. I'm going to try to make it better over time. Part 8, Welcome to Murder School. Posted May 22nd, 2023. Warning, this post is violent, grotesque, and true. If someone meets with a mafia boss, it doesn't mean they're a criminal. If they meet with a mafia boss every week, it still doesn't mean they're a criminal, but now it's a lot more likely. Repetition is evidence. 2 weeks ago, Franco Medina Angiulo, 29, and Sergio Palomino, 28, were shot and killed outside a club in Puerto Rico. They were on vacation with classmates from New York University Stern School of Business. According to police reports, the two were killed in the crossfire between two separate parties with no other injuries. A brief video showing a woman holding a gun in a crowded area was released. Though a gunshot is heard, the video offers no further information as to what occurred. The woman has been apprehended and released on a $150,000 bail. According to Captain Edwin Figueroa, they've recovered more shell casings than are consistent with the video, and that the video may not tell the whole story. David Latt was an assistant prosecutor for the United States Attorney's Office in Newark. In 2004, Latt started an anonymous blog called Underneath Their Robes, self-described as a combination of People, Us Weekly, Page 6, The National Enquirer, and Tiger Beat, focused not on vacuous movie stars or fatuous teen idols, but on the federal judiciary. The blog was a huge hit in the legal world, eventually leading to Latt being outed as the writer. As news requests flooded the U.S. Attorney's Office, Latt took the site down. Though many wanted him fired, U.S. Attorney Chris Christie took a fatherly tone and praised Latt for his work, saying he didn't want Latt to resign since it would look bad for the office. Latt left law to go write for Wonkit not long after. Over a year later, just 2 weeks after Latt had started his blog, his sister Charlene walked to David's Midtown Manhattan apartment while he was at work. She fell to her death from his 25th floor apartment. She was a graduate student at New York University. In the early 2000s, the U.S. Department of Justice investigated collusion among several semiconductor manufacturers in the DRAM price-fixing scandal. In October 2005, Samsung Electronics pled guilty and agreed to pay $300 million. 1 month later, American and Korean media reported that Lee Yoon-hong, the daughter of billionaire Samsung chairman Lee Kun-hee, was killed in a car accident in New York City, but reporters couldn't find the facts to support it. After the Korea Times investigated further, a police report settled the matter. The first-year New York University graduate heiress was found hanging from her Manhattan apartment by an electrical cord. Alan O. Hunter had an impossibly American resume. He was a special agent for the FBI during World War II before joining the precursor to the CIA, the Office of Strategic Services. After a term in the U.S. House of Representatives, he practiced law and helped develop and operate an active seniors retirement community before being chosen by Nixon to run Fannie Mae. the country's largest housing finance provider. His son, Alan O. Hunter Jr., co-founder Rent.com in 1999, the country's largest apartment listing site. He served as the company's president until it was acquired by eBay in 2005 for $433 million. That same year, Hunter Jr. was named as a director of the holding company of the Virgin River Casino, 2 hours outside of Las Vegas. Alan O. Hunter III went by Trey. He rarely spoke about his family and was reportedly tormented by family issues. Nevertheless, he was enjoying his first month at NYU, where he pursued a career in screenwriting. According to sources, he got in a fight with his girlfriend and jumped off the roof of a building shortly after 5 a.m. His baby sister was born 10 hours earlier. These are just some of the suspicious deaths that have taken place at New York University over the last 2 decades. Since the year 2000, at least 31 suicides or accidental deaths have been reported at NYU, many of them much more public than is typical. Many of these are suspicious for their individual circumstances, but all are suspicious when taken collectively, representing something far scarier than overworked students in an isolating city. Beyond the deaths, several headlines out of NYU are bizarre, wretched, and uncanny. In 2013, student Asher Van Tau stepped out to get some fresh air at 7 a.m. on a Saturday after partying all night. Soon after, someone pulled the fire alarm. When the alarm was cleared, Van Tau had vanished. For 36 hours, he was trapped between 2 buildings, having fallen from a high floor or possibly the roof. Van Tau has no recollection of how he had fallen. In 2015, student Jaime Castano set his roommate on fire while she was sleeping, saying while he filmed it and posted it to Snapchat. In 2017, NYU student Christian Gutierrez pleaded no contest to animal cruelty and theft after a dozen albatrosses were bludgeoned and mutilated in Hawaii. 20-year-old Tumi McCullum's death was like these. Though it was prosecuted as a simple case of a jealous and possessive lover, this case is not just suspicious but almost unexplainable. Her mother was a professor at NYU, and Tumi was staying in her apartment while her mother was traveling. Tumi was found dead in her bedroom in August 2007. Her bedroom door locked from the inside. Her boyfriend, Michael Cordero, eventually confessed to the crime. He had been jealous that she had a party and didn't invite him, so he reportedly squeezed her neck with such force that she bled from her nose before dying. Cordero maintained that it was entirely unplanned, ultimately pleading from murder to 25-year manslaughter sentence. But when Tumi was found, she had suffered so much blunt force trauma to the face that she was unrecognizable. Her bed splattered with blood. Her body was surrounded by empty 40-ounce malt liquor bottles, and not just empty condom wrappers, but empty boxes. Despite this grotesque staging of a gang rape, police reported no sexual assault. So, the story that reality has presented us is this. In an unplanned fit of jealousy, Michael Cordero strangled and killed Tumi McCullum after she had a party. He then bludgeoned her violently and repeatedly in the face. He either already had several 40s and boxes of condoms, or he bought them, came back, and spread them around her corpse. Though he did not sexually assault her, despite this horrific crime, he pled down to manslaughter. It doesn't add up, but what else could? I mean, this would explain it better, right? Tumi McCullum was violently gang raped by a group of criminals powerful enough to get the police to say no sexual assault occurred and get her boyfriend to take the fall. Their vile scene wasn't just to let someone know what they did to their loved one, but to let them know they could get away with it. Hell, it doesn't even sound far-fetched at NYU. But what would compel these monsters to do this to her of all people? I'm still sniffing that one out, but it's looking like one hell of a satire. But why so many deaths? Surely not everybody's dad colluded to defund the US government, right? Facts are scarce on many. NYU has not released the names of almost all suicide victims since 2018, but I have a few theories. 1. You're an overachieving freshman who's long dreamed of the magical promise of academia. At some point, you are met with the sudden realization that the institution you put your faith in engages in shameless, villainous criminal activity. You commit suicide. 2. You are let in on some bit of criminal enterprise and you express revulsion. You are killed and it is covered up as a suicide. 3. You're having trouble fitting in and New York City is isolating, but you feel such a wave of relief when someone comes up to you after class with a warm smile who wants to be your friend. They look in your eyes and they open up to you. Such a blessing in the city of unintended glances. They show you a New York you were too afraid to explore. The art of haggling with the bootleg CD guy, the exotic perfection of dim sum, and the art, oh the art. They are your first spring day in Washington Square Park. They know a bar that doesn't card, and two of you slide into a booth with a pitcher. They grab you by the wrist and look you in the eyes. Would you ever fuck a dog? You burst into laughter, already drunk with adventure. I'm just saying, a lot of sexy dogs out there. You nearly fall out of the booth. An extra pitcher later, and you've propping each other up on the long stumble to the dorms, passing a clove back and forth. An old man walks past with an old beagle, eh? They look at the dog and give you a nudge, eh? They wink and smile. A block later, and you muster up the courage. I mean, it's not like I don't have perversions. Oh? They stop and grab your wrist, looking into your eye. Okay, but you can't tell anybody about this, okay? Are you kidding? I fuck dogs. They laugh and give a reassuring smile. Well, when I was a kid, I used to. You feel a wave of panic as your shameful skeleton pours out, but they look you in the eyes and give you the biggest, warmest hug of your life. The next morning at brunch, they lean in toward you. Hey, remember that thing you told me about? About the redacted? The panic sets in again. Well, I'm going to need $15,000 or else I'm going to have to tell the whole school. You commit suicide. Did you know that Jeffrey Epstein, the world's most notorious blackmail artist, attended NYU? ? And that is the end of this post.